Good evening. My name is Robert Evans. I'm one of the co-creators of the PDA, or the Personal Development App. We call it the PDA for short. Welcome to our next episode of what we call the Q&A session with our experts who spoke on our PDA tour this past summer. And so we actually have three Canadians here tonight. Welcome from Canada. We have Paula Hopwood, who spoke in Calgary, right? Are you from the Calgary area?
Yeah, Calgary area. Hi.
Welcome. Donna Stairs from the Toronto area, right? And Janet, I always get this wrong, but help me out with your last name. Is it Wizawadi? Yay.
You got it.
From the Edmonton area up in Canada. So welcome, my beautiful Canadian friends, to our Q&A session tonight. We just got done sharing their talks and that we did on our Canadian tour, and that you can watch. If you haven't watched them yet, you can watch them in the app under the PDA Talks section or the original content section of the app. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to go a little bit deeper into some of the messages that they shared, but also to kind of just get some of their wisdom tonight on some different topics as we explore their world a little bit more. So I really appreciate you three being here, and I'm looking forward to this conversation. So I'm going to start with Janet. Janet, it has been a tremendous pleasure for me to be able to get to know you, your husband Les, who's awesome, and to spend time with you up in Canada and also in Costa Rica. Both Donna and Janet were in Costa Rica recently with me on a trip. One of the things that you share, Janet, in your talk is you're talking about a lot of the changes and challenges that you've gone through in life, which is true for most people, and some are very intense, and some are very hard to imagine trying to get through. One of the things I love about you is that you've kind of got this tool bag that you go into. You grab, when things get tough, when you're experiencing things that would set a lot of people back, you kind of go in there and you grab some tools to help you get through it. What are some of the tools that you use and that you recommend to other people to keep moving forward through it all? Can you kind of expand upon that?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest ones is gratitude, and focusing on things that I'm grateful for. That takes me out of that woe is me kind of depressive state. And by looking at what I'm grateful for, I journal, write letters to myself or my other self, and training. I do lots of training and taking courses. And I think the biggest one is to make sure that I surround myself with like-minded, positive people. There's nothing worse than when things are going rough, that you have people that buy into that and keep you going on that hamster wheel. When you have really good, awesome people around you, they'll say, okay, so that happened, now what?
Yeah. I totally agree. And it's funny how gratitude keeps popping up. And it's actually been an exercise that I've been in for almost 4 weeks now, every single day, waking up and doing a morning routine where I'm kind of going into gratitude. And it was interesting. I was just listening to something in the background just a little while ago. And again, they're talking about gratitude. So apparently the universe really wants me to be aware of what I'm grateful for. And for all of you that are listening, it's the same for you too. So thank you, Janet. I think it's an awesome reminder, and it's incredibly powerful.
It is.
What I love about tonight is the connection and flow that the three of you have to each other and your messaging. Paula, when you were in your message, in your talk, you were talking about that, that one really important message that you want everybody to hear. Can you share that again with us? What is that most important message you want everyone to have?
The messages about what I allow will continue. When I was changing my life from being abusive and depressed and suicidal, I had this this thing come into my head, and it just popped in there. Is what I allow will continue. And it's literally changed my whole life, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, no matter what it is as I examine things with that, what I allow will continue. So whether I'm allowing poor choices in my life, or whether I'm allowing positive people around me, what am I allowing? It's everything. I realized that everything all came back to me, and for each and every one of you, like you too, Robert, you're the center of your universe. You're the center of your world. It all revolves around you. And so what I allow will continue has just changed my life. And that is the message I want to get out to everyone, that if they adopt that and embrace it, that it can change their life too.
Why are you spreading this message? Why is this so important to you?
Oh, this is so important to me. Well, first of all, I have a drive within me, and I've examined that many times. And part of it, what it is that I don't want to see people suffer. I don't want to see them wallowing around when they're looking for a hand, when they're looking for something to hold on to. I want to be there for them. And if I can be there for them in a video or something like that, where, my message of what I allow will continue, then great, And the thing is if we raise our love vibration, each of us individually, and then we raise it all together, like all around, the world can change, the world around us changes, our children's lives improve, our life improves, our spouses' lives improve when we raise that. And so that's why this message is so important to me. That's why I'm out there delivering this message all the time in many different ways.
Oh, thank you. And I love that. I love that you do that. Donna, what I love about what you represent and what you've been bringing into my world and lots of people that I've seen you do this with is that you help us connect to some deeper sources, and especially Mother Earth, as you were talking about in your talk, and that sort of thing. And I've seen it firsthand when we were in Costa Rica, how powerful that is, and how instantaneously that can shift a person in. Sorry, everybody.
No worries.
A whole different perspective there. Why is it important to be mindful of where you're sourcing from? What does that really do for us?
Well, I feel that the question, really, the answer to the question is really the nugget to just about everything. And I just loved hearing Janet and Paula talk on where they're sourcing from. Am I going to stay in this gratitude place, or am I going to fall into a depression? What am I allowing to continue? So these choices, where am I sourcing from? Every day, in every way, is a choice. And from my own personal observations, a lot of sourcing is happening from computers and cell phones and the stock market and TV, and I'm as guilty as everybody else. But my feeling is that the question is just such an important one in the times that we live in, to be sourcing in everything is energy, and to be sourcing in energies that are really of a higher vibration and just so much better for us than technology and the stock market. Yeah,
I totally see that. But I also love that you make the connection to Earth, and all things around that. What are the benefits, or why would we need to, or be interested in creating a relationship more with, or showing more reverence to Mother Earth?
So again, I feel that it's such a poignant question in the times that we live in. It's been this big, big journey in our minds for many, many years. And I believe that a lot of people are collectively sinking into their hearts. And part of us sinking into our hearts is sinking into the feminine, sinking into Mother Earth. And rather than viewing Mother Earth as a commodity, like we're going to the grocery store, it's just time to sink into a deeper relation with her. There are many that feel that Gaia is alive, that she is this beautiful essence. And the more clear we are with that, and the more we sink into our hearts and try to foster relation with her, the better I believe we'll all be. In the West, we tend to have a lot of comfort thinking of God and thinking of heaven and thinking of Creator. And I would just urge folks to be in an equal measure being in that reverence and prayerful place with our mother, remembering our mother in our prayers, remembering to ask her for what we're needing, apologizing to her, and beginning to foster a relationship with her is a really beautiful beginning. And I feel like as we are within, so we are without. And when our inner masculine and feminine is in balance and everything's working beautifully there, then it's really going to start reflecting in the outer world.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, one of the missions that I have with the PDA, and even with these interviews that I'm doing, is to provide ideas and insights and tools for people to kind of balance their lives in the craziness that is around them. And this is what I mean by the craziness that's around them. We live in a very different world than, you know, what we all grew up in. You know, we live in a world that is instantly connected, and we got instant bombardment of information that's coming at information and opinions that's coming at us every single day through our devices, our smartphones that we carry around and live with, on a daily basis, to social media, to the news, to just everything. And it's reflected in a lot of things that are happening in the world right now. And what I recognize in that, in myself and in others, is that can throw people out of balance from where they really want to be in their mission, their purpose, their experience of life. How do we? So this is a question for all the three of you. What would you recommend from your perspective, experience, and message that you can give to people that would help them stay more in balance, or to regain that balance? Let's start with you, Paula. Everything that's because here's the thing: is that just like with any challenge, something can come around in a particular day and derail us, right? So how do you, in that perspective of your talk, how do you keep yourself balanced, and what do you recommend to other people to do too?
The first thing that I started doing, I forget how many years ago, was I quit watching the news because it was just filled with negative stories. I mean, I always liked at the end of the news when there'd be a positive story, but I didn't want to fill my life with negativity. So I quit watching the news, and I realized how much news had influenced my life, how much the magazines had influenced my life. And of course, I'm dating myself here because that was before the internet, but anyway, so now we have Facebook and Instagram, and I mean, we hold a little computer in our hands, we run around, and so the way that I find balance now is I always go back to that thought, is what I allow will continue, right? So if I get sucked into, I can lose hours on Facebook, right? And excuse me. And the thing is I want to spend time in my life developing myself, developing my relationships and stuff. So I literally shut things off, right? I shut things off because we functioned before these things, right? And what I know is that we are love, right? That vibration of love. And so to get back to that, I have to shut out the outside world sometimes, and just get back to what's really important and put that as a priority. And that means actually hitting the off button, and walking away. I walk outside, and get back to Mother Earth, drum my drum, go spend time with the animals, and get back to being myself, right? Bring in that balance. I do spend obviously time on Facebook and stuff, but it is a balance.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, absolutely. It's brilliant. And that's, they've they've now classified smartphones as a legitimate addiction.
Yeah.
And I've actually recognized that in myself, this addiction that I've had to it. And that's the thing that I've been doing, is shutting it off and turn off notifications and all that sort of thing that tends to pull me away from where I really want to be in the balance that I'm in. Donna, as far as from your perspective, and especially from the connection to Mother Earth, what do you recommend? What is the thing that you do that keeps balance and those things not influencing you?
Yeah, it's such a great question. And I find in any given day or any given week that that will change and that will shift depending on who I am that day or that week. Recently, it's been taking a walk, and I'm really fortunate to live by the waters of Lake Erie. And I walk there and I spend time with the waters. And for me, another really powerful practice is opening sacred space. So honoring the four directions, honoring our beautiful Mother Earth, and honoring the star nations. And I find that practice really keeps me very current energetically in who I am and what I'm focusing on and who and what I want to be. And my opening sacred space is actually available in your PDA, personal development app, in the tips and life hacks session. I've got a whole write up there on how to open sacred space, and I can't recommend it enough. It's a life changer.
Yeah. Yes. I've experienced it firsthand. Absolutely, very powerful. Janet, how about you? What is it that you do for yourself? What do you recommend for others?
Well, my phone's on silence 90% of the time. I don't react to dings and stuff like that. And in fact, at night I make Les turn his off so that I don't have to hear his dings. I don't watch the news. I partly from in the 80s with Louise Hay, and then Jack Canfield, and that was, so news is something I don't watch. I live it. I live the news most of the time, so I don't have to watch it. And for me, it's I at least once a day have a nice hot bubble bath or stuff, and I turn the lights off and I just go in there. That's my quiet space, and or early in the morning before anybody's up, and just have a meditation.
Now, Janet, when people, when people do experience that disconnect from their more powerful self that they have, and the challenges come up around that, what is it that you do or teach to help someone reframe that challenge to something more empowering?
My workshops, I definitely do one on journaling. Like, you can journal to self. Like, ask yourself a question, write the answer with your opposite, your non-dominant hand. That's one way that I teach. Also, I have people look back in their year. That's another thing. Look back in your year, what worked, what didn't work, and what needs to change. And maybe something has already been resolved and you don't have to change it. Vision boards. Look forward. That's one thing that after I was diagnosed with PTSD, I had to really learn to look forward to something exciting and plan something that you really, really want to do, and put it out long enough, not to the point that it's really crazy. But for example, Les and I just came back from a cruise, and so we booked another one, but it's 2 years from now. And so when people think about expense and, oh, we couldn't do that, do you know what? It works it out. It's like Leslie said in his talk about, do it, be grateful for something that's in the future and speak to it in present tense. Everything falls into place to cover all that. So part of that is looking forward and planning forward. That way it gets you out of that stuck moment, and it can be any little thing. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I love that. And it's so incredibly relevant to a lot of what's going on with people and myself. So thank you for saying that. That hit home for me right there in that moment.
Great.
Couple quick questions. Paula, what do you want your tombstone to say? You said something to me the other day that, you know, made me kind of think about this, and I'm curious, what do you want to say?
Well, I still want to affect people after I go. And so being that we are love, and I want to get that message across to people that, you know, that they're more powerful than they think they are, that they strip away this back to love. So what I would want written on my tombstone is, she did everything with love. She is love, and so are you. Could you imagine walking through a graveyard and see that on there? She is love, and so are you, you know? I think that would be awesome.
I love that. I love
Mm-hmm.
that. Yes. And that would be a great place to catch people's attention for sure. and that's definitely my experience of you too, Paula. So thank you for how you show up and who you are. Donna, you know, you know, being more connected to Earth, having that deeper relationship with Earth. What is it that what could I do that can, you know, have that deeper connection with Earth? What is that one thing that you would suggest for me to do?
Well, there's a few things, if I may, and I feel the first thing is kind of at the level of our thoughts and beliefs. So that beautiful shift in perspective, just that allowing it to sink into our hearts, the notion that we can actually have a relationship with our beautiful Mother Earth like we would a loving brother or a loving pet or a loving spouse. So it's a shift in our the way we're thinking. Maybe to meditate on her as a living being. The next time you're out with her, just close your eyes and sink into meditation with her and see what shows up. The next step I feel would be an action step, actively doing something to create a relationship with her. And whatever that feels like and looks like for you, when you sit by the river, talk to the river, talk to the trees, talk to that animal, as if it is your best friend, and you'll be shocked at what can happen and what can turn up for you. I already talked about actively opening sacred space. When we were in Costa Rica, Richard, you did this beautiful nature minding walk. That was such a beautiful and powerful experience for me. And again, my PDA article, if you go to Donna Stairs in my PDA article, I wrote a whole article on that experience for me and how deep and rich and transformative it was for me. Stuff came up in that jungle that I didn't know was still in my field. And it was because I was in nature that I was able to release everything to her. So it was such a powerful experience. And the third layer, I feel, is the deepest layer. And if you give yourself permission to go to this third layer, when you go into your meditation and you meditate on the waters, allow yourself to actually become the water. Allow yourself to actually become the tree. And again, it's just unbelievable doing that as a practice, what shows up and what shifts in your life and how amazing that is.
You know, this is when I do this, because I am a big outdoor nature person. When I do what you're talking about, you know, and I know that I can go even deeper as you described there. There is no greater peace that I experience than when I do that. You know, and it's interesting for people in today's society. Most people don't, you know, they live in a concrete electronic jungle, you know, and a lot of people just don't have any connection to Earth. You know, I mean, they can go weeks or longer before they actually touch the dirt of the Earth, you know, and it's interesting how that could throw us off, and just being grounded just through the touch, taking our shoes off and being, you know, connected to Earth is very, very powerful. Except for up in Canada in the wintertime, I wouldn't recommend to do that.
It's better then.
San Diego, it's okay still. We're good. Thank you, Donna. You know, Janet, you know, you have been doing work in you know, outside of this personal development work for, you know, decades, you know, and I think it's called the RCMP, you know, you've worked with them, and you do continue to do work with them, and really you don't need to do any of this work that you're doing right now? I mean, you got yourself, you and Les are kind of set there. Why do you choose to coach and mentor and do talks and that sort of thing? Why is this so important to you? What does this really fulfill for you inside?
Well, I used to think that I was being pushed to do the work. And I asked a shaman one time, I says, I feel like I'm being pushed to do this. And she says, what if you thought of it as a magnet drawing you to it? Mm-hmm. And it so changed the whole energy around it. But you know, one person changed my life. One person. I was a high school dropout, and I was working with this woman who had a master's degree in education, and she said to me, go back to school. And I says, no, I'm not smart enough. And she says, oh yeah, you are. I says, well, no, I don't think I am. But she had a master's degree in education, so I took her advice and I did. And it changed my world. And if I can, with what I can share of my experiences and my risks that I take, like I'm always stepping into something new, can change somebody's life just by being that example, that's why I do what I do. And when we were in Costa Rica, and I don't even know what I posted, and when my granddaughter sent me a message, and she's 24 years old, and she says, Grandma, I'm so proud of you. That it means so much, because that means that I'm living that example that my family and my friends can be proud of, and that I have an opportunity to plant a seed for someone that could change their life in the future.
Yeah, and there's no greater feeling than knowing that you can do that, and it feels pretty darn good to do that within ourselves too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, Janet, you know, speaking of coaching and mentoring and speaking and that sort of thing, you know, how can people connect with you? You know, how can they reach out to you to talk to you about these different things? And is there an opportunity or a way for them to start working with you in some capacity or another? Can you share?
Yeah, definitely. I have like what I call like an entrance program. A lot of people don't understand what coaching and mentoring is unless you relate it like to hockey players or athletes, and that they need coaches. But we need coaches in our life as well. And I have a program that is open to anybody who wants to experience it. And it's $100 a month for 45-minute call for a year. Commitment. Nothing changes overnight. One call will not change you. And so if anybody's interested, they can definitely call me, message me. Anyhow, my phone number in Canada, and I'll take any calls from anywhere, 780-983-0840. They can find me on the app, on the personal development app. Or they can go to my website, which is www.familyconnect, and connect is spelled CONNEKT.com. And I want to be there for them. You know, sometimes we need somebody just to hold space in order to move forward. I did, and so I'm there for someone else.
Awesome. Yes, highly recommend people get connected with you, Janet. You are awesome. I love and adore you and the you know, how you show up in the world. Paula, what is a way that people can connect with you, and what do you have that can inspire them to, you know, to make that connection?
Well, they could connect with me by going to paulahopwood.com, and there's a contact me button. And if you hit that, it'll go straight to me, and we can have a phone conversation. We can talk right over the phone together, you know. And so in the talk that I did, I mentioned a lady that I just love to help people strip away that which holds them back, and let them, you know, just help them to live their dreams and be their true selves. And I talked about Tracy in my talk there, and she inspired me to go even more. And I ended up developing an 8-week program. It's called the Abundant Goddess, and we go through 8 weeks, 8 different lessons that strip away things that don't serve us, that gives us tools to use. We go on meditations and shamanic journeys, and yes, my drum shows up, and we have a lot of fun too, you know. I got to share 2 testimonies with you, because this is just amazing, because this is totally what I was going for. Deb said, I love this. It's simple and powerful. And Joanne said, thank you so much, Paula. Thank you for the tools and awakening me, my life, my purpose, my now to live right now. So, you know, I would just encourage anyone that is wanting to break free and be themselves truly. If you want to connect with me, come on over to paulahopwood.com. You can connect with me here on the app as well. And I would love to talk with you.
It's awesome. Highly recommend everybody connect with Paula too. And, you know, and what I love about all 3 of you, and Donna, I wanted you to share too, but all 3 of you are getting more and more involved in the app, sharing, you know, more content and, you know, and ways for people to go deeper into your message. And I think that's an amazing opportunity to really understand what you all have to give. Donna, what is the best way for people to connect with you and engage with you?
Really perfect way to connect with me is actually through the personal development app. I have a profile there. You can be linked to my website from there, www.eaglesnestenergymedicine.ca. And my phone number is 519-583-9971. And that's up on my website as well. There's 2 things that I'd like to offer. Sometimes in wanting to connect in a deeper way and just enhance our vibration, it's really good to seek out certain individuals and certain modalities. And one of the things I offer are the rites of Munai Ki. These are out of Peru. Munai is Quechua for heart, that's spirit, heart, and Ki is energy. So heart energy. And these are literally 9 energetic rites of initiation. And I'm really honored to be offering them this March at Luminous Energetic Pathways here in Ontario. You can Google Munai Ki to find somebody in your area to receive these rites. But the other thing I offer are, I just love to work with individuals who are ready for that next step. Even healers find themselves at a place where they're ready for that next step and maybe feel a bit stuck. And I can help you clean all that up. And I can work remotely and I can work in person as well. So a session is usually $80. I'd be willing to offer that for $60. And the Munai Ki is usually $333. And I'd be loving to offer that to anybody who's interested for $299.
Wow. Awesome. Thank you. All 3 of you. Amazing generosity, amazing spirits. I love and appreciate you. Thank you for being who you are and doing what you do. Who you are is important, and what you do is, who you are is wonderful, and what you do is very important. It's a very powerful acknowledgement for how you show up in the world and how you've shown up in my life. And I know that we've got some adventures that are ahead of us. We're all looking at doing some more international trips together. Paula is going to be a part of that whole experience too. So that's exciting. And we'll get to kind of, you know, use the world as our playground. And so for those of you that are watching, highly recommend that you connect with these 3 incredible messengers and experts that are part of the PDA. If you have not downloaded the PDA, simply go to the iPhone or Android App Store, type in the search field, the PDA, and you'll be able to download the app totally free. Here's what's amazing about the PDA is you'll find there are dozens and dozens, over 100 experts that are in there right now, with another 100 to come. There are already hundreds of videos, hundreds of articles. There's journal lessons, there's galleries, there's book chapters and shows. It's already the largest personal development content app on the app stores, and totally free. Everything in there is there for you to experience for free. These are 3 examples. These 3 experts, these 3 amazing souls are 3 examples of the love and energy and generosity that's being shared in there. And I can't appreciate the three of you enough for one, showing up and doing your talk in on the PDA tour, because saying yes is, 90% of the process. And I think that's awesome that you guys have done that, and just for continuing to be the change that we all seek to have in the world. Thank you for being here, for the three of you. Thank you for watching. If you've been watching this on the app or on Facebook, make sure you download the app so you can experience more of this as we continue on. That's it for our show tonight, and for our Q&A session with Donna Stairs, Paula Hopwood, Janet Wizawati, and yay, woo, 2 times in a row. And and that's it for tonight. Have an awesome evening. We'll see you on our next show coming up next week. Take care.
Thanks,
everybody.
Robert.
Thank you.
Thank you.